Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. In this episode today, we are going to be ranking all players for Black Ops 6, predicting where players are going to be by the end of the year. If you guys enjoy this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review. We're just going to jump right into this one. We've got a little bit of news to cover, and then we're just ranking for the rest of the video as we shockingly are like, what, a week away from the season, 2 weeks away from the season. I can't believe it. So let's just jump into it. Brock, how you doing today?
Oh, doing pretty good. Honestly, just like you said, season coming soon, and let's hop into this podcast.
It's next Friday, right? First matches?
I
I
believe
believe so,
so.
December 6th, because obviously this Friday here in the States is Black Friday. Thanksgiving is this Thursday. And
Mm-hmm.
then next Friday, I believe, December 6th. That seems weird. Like, I don't know why in my head it's not computing that today is Monday the 25th and next Friday is going to be December 6th. I don't know why in my head it's not computing.
Yeah, same here, kind of. But yeah,
Also, this month teleported by. It's like unbelievable that I mean, yeah, it's the 25th, so we're like a month away from Christmas today.
yep, that's nice.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But we've got some news to get into, Brock. Very little that we want to talk about. There is probably more we could mention, but I mostly want to just dedicate this video to ranking the players for the season, something we like to do if we can. We kind of like ranked who we thought our top players are going to be. Maybe our thoughts have changed since then. Uh, that was about a month or two ago, like over a month, I think. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe our thoughts have changed a little bit then, but it's the 48 players that are starting. The only one we had a little bit of a question on, I guess, would be like with Heretics. It's not like officially really confirmed. Like the last update was maybe Rencor over Vickle, but we went with Rencor over Vickle. We'll touch on that all later. Pieces of news first, Brock. The Challengers Cup 1 was played. A lot of familiar faces in terms of the winners. For Latin America, just I'm not as familiar with the Latin American players. I know it's like a lot newer of a scene to be like officially involved in challengers, so I don't really recognize any of the names there as much. Uh, but in terms of North America, four names we recognize a lot, huh?
Yep,
Huke,
yep.
Spart, Capsidal, Proloot players that have had all of them, I believe, had multiple little sections in the Pro League at least. Yeah, Proloot, Optic, and then a little bit in MW2. Capsules had a couple stints.
Mm-hmm.
Spart obviously was an MVP of an event we were at.
Yep,
And then, I mean, Hook, a much more storied career than all those other guys.
yep, definitely.
It's
So
interesting that they win. It's funny how we always talk about like challengers having so much talent, and then it's a group of just four people that have bounced in and out of the Pro League constantly just go down and win.
yeah. Not shocked at that. Not shocked at who winning. He's very, very talented player.
Yeah, we got to get that guy in the league.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with this game, the movement and stuff like that, how fast paced it could be.
I mean, we've been
Definitely.
preaching that for how long?
Yeah, for a
Like
while now.
we've been preaching that Hook, like we thought Surge should have potentially kept him, and we thought maybe like keep the trio together of Abuza, O4, and Hook, and find a new flex. Uh, Instead of Brezzy, maybe pick up somebody with a little more heavy slaying power. That's why we were all on the train of Surge trying to get Sib back.
Yep.
Plug Sib into this roster, add some more firepower because we figured this game was going to need a lot of firepower. And Hook is like the perfect player for this game because it does seem like a lot more of a head bashing game. Just, tons of engagements, head bashing. You're going to need to get a lot of kills. You're going to need players that can play fast and just like slay. And I mean, if there's one thing Hook's always been able to do, it's play fast, just play chaotic, slay. Like this game seems to fit his play style so much. Like he does go rogue sometimes. He sometimes hurts his team with what he's doing on the map because he's maybe doing too much. But like, if there was any game for Hook, it's this one.
Yep. And you can see there he won the Challenger Cup.
Yeah, as well as guys like Spark Capsule. I wasn't able to watch them, but I've always been high on Capsule as well. You have, I think, too.
Yep. We both have.
Yeah, Capsule is a player that has a lot of talent. Just like once again, is he maybe the best sub? Like, is he going to dominate? Maybe not, but there is a lot of talent there. If you can get him in the right situation, like I feel like last year they gave up on him so early.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was benched so quickly, and clearly it didn't work out because the team sucked anyways.
Yeah.
So like he wasn't the issue. That team just sucked. And Prolude and Spart, guys, I'm not as high on. Like Prolude has been dominating challengers, so you got to give him his respect. But Spart is kind of like it seems like every time he hits the league, he doesn't have that much success. I don't know how I feel about Spart necessarily, but
Yes.
Obviously, I mean he is a good player. Like he's always in the top in challengers, and he can hold his own in the league. He's definitely not a bad player by any means.
Yeah. Spart's like if when he's a starter, he's like all right, but when he's a sub, like subs in for a game or two, he's like a lot better for whatever reason.
Using the Volk and that stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, in terms of the European team, Bance, Harry, Denza, Mythics, a lot of familiar faces again. Bance gets it done. Maybe we'll see him get one last go in the Pro League. Harry, he had the one shake on London and didn't really do much with it, so maybe he gets another chance.
Hmm.
Denza, I don't know as much about Mythics. He might be a newer player. I don't know as much about him.
He
Denza,
might.
definitely a name we've heard for a while.
Yep. Mythics might be that, 18 SMG for all we know. I don't really know that guy.
Yeah. And then in terms of the APAC region, I just wanted to mention this one because this is hilarious. Crimsa and Setsi are definitely names I've heard, but Shox and Fida, they like if you are an APAC, somebody fight back. Those dudes run APAC. Like
For a lot of
they've been
years.
on they've been on Mind Freak since like at least Black Ops 3. Like those guys have been around forever. I mean, what do we see? Black Ops 3 was what, like 8 years ago now?
Yeah, it was a while back.
And like they were like on Mind Freak then, like winning every like APAC tournament basically, and like qualifying for the tournaments, and like they would do okay. Like they would shoot back and they would like put up a fight, but they would never like come close to winning tournaments. But like they were the two guys with Dens, and who was the other one? It wasn't Luca at the time. It was Dens, Fida, Shox.
Oh man, who was it?
I can't remember who it was. But it was obviously Dens, and a lot of people should know Dens. He was Boston's GM for a while. He also played on like the Legion a little bit. Uh, but anyways, Dens, Fida, Shox, and it wasn't Luca at the time. I can't remember who the last guy was.
Wasn't it Denza?
No, Denza's the EU player.
I think
Dens
it's
was the main AR, but I can't remember who it was. Anyways, the Shox and Fida,
yeah,
they have
those
been
two.
running it since at least Black Ops 3 from what I remember.
Yeah, those ones are
And,
familiar.
and like it's crazy that like Shox got his chance in the league. I think in MW19 he played on that Legion team. That was actually like somewhat decent. It was like Luca, Shox, Dens, Kismet, and I forget the last one, but they were actually like a decent team on LAN. I remember in like the first couple like regular season match, like home series things they were doing. Yeah, actually like that team was decent. Then once it went to online, they just sucked.
Yeah,
But that team was actually like decent, but they've really never gotten their shake, and they probably never will, to be honest. Just they've been around forever. But I mean, I guess if they're just maybe working other jobs and then for fun they're just winning
still
tournaments
winning.
for a little extra cash, why not? They're just
Yeah.
running APAC.
Shout out them.
Yeah. Last thing, Brock, for news before we just jump into this. Ranked play is out. The base of the game, obviously, we like elo, we like the system and all that. The veto system is pretty cool. Like it's kind of fun to be able to like veto certain maps within their game mode. It has come out that it is, if you get control, it's a 3 control maps. If you get hardpoint, it's 3 hardpoint maps. It isn't like a mix of control, search, hardpoint. Uh control, search, hardpoint, which I do like, because I was you and I were saying like we don't love playing control, but we're worried that like nobody's ever gonna have to play control because like people will always veto it.
Yep.
Maybe it'd be better that way because control sucks. In this game, control is not good to play.
Yeah.
But also like I was gone this weekend. I haven't been able to play since Friday, but as of Friday I had played like at least 30, 40 plus games of ranked, and I hadn't gotten a single search.
Yeah. I've played about as much as you, and still no search to be found.
And I hardpoint is the mode I'd want to play the most anyways, but like give me a search. Like I'd rather play it than control. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still broken. I saw a lot of people tweeting that like they hadn't gotten a search, and then every once in a while I saw people were playing search. Like it's the play rates are like definitely messed up, and I'm surprised they haven't fixed it, because like I should not be playing 30 plus games without a single search.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, like you
Just
said, maybe they just forgot about it.
I, I wouldn't be surprised. Uh, the other thing that we've seen from ranked, they also got to ban the guns. Like they came out right away and basically just banned like the classic things they're gonna ban, like LMGs, shotguns, like marksman rifles, those kind of things. But they have all the ARs except forget, except one in there. I can't remember which one. And they have everything but the Tanto in for subs. But it doesn't even matter because like the Krig is so overpowered.
Mhm.
It's like you can try to pull out the aims or whatever and like use the meta AR, but like people on the other team are using the Krig, you stand no chance. You kind of have to pull it out to counter it.
Yep.
So it is just awful. Like they need to ban the guns and just get us to like the two CDL guns, get us to the Jackal or whatever, and the aims. Get us those guns because this is like this garbage with the Krig is just making the game so much worse. And then I would say the maps. I don't love the maps they chose. Like I have no idea why we chose red card
Yeah.
to be in the rotation. Rewind is a little questionable too. I'm hoping Hacienda can come in and maybe one other map can come in to save it. Uh, Overall, though, like the base of the game, the movement, the gunplay, all of that is very fun. It's just there's an issue with a few maps and the fact that we're not getting search right now. And then after we get your thoughts, we'll talk about the cheaters in a sec.
Yeah. Yeah, so kind of my thoughts were, the map's questionable, like red card. When we've played, I haven't even played red cards because everyone just vetoes it no matter what. 'Cause it's a
Yep.
terrible map. And I would love to play a search here and there, but not maybe every 50 games I can maybe possibly get a search and destroy.
Yeah, that has to be unintentional.
Yeah, it has to be all messed up for whatever reason, but like I said, hopefully they ban the guns because I'm just want to get the CDL players and their classes guns to use in rank play only, and not like this. I like cheese guns like the Krig, like you said, or
Yeah.
even like the XM4 to some extent.
Yeah, well, it's terrible because it's not like you can even just like choose to use the CDL gun because you're at such a disadvantage because the Krig is like by far and away the best AR.
Yeah.
It's like you're at such a disadvantage if you don't use it and you're gonna lose because it's not like we're pros where it's like if we're playing people even to our skill level, if we're using a way worse gun, like we're gonna get beat.
Mhm. Yep.
Uh then the one last thing, Brock, the cheating thing. So we've seen Havoc and some other pros ask Treyarch. They've been saying take the game, take ranked down until you have a solution for the cheaters. And I tweeted about it. I kept seeing people say it, and I feel like I'm like shouting into the void again, or like I feel like I'm missing something. Like I felt like it's a brain dead take because like yes, in an ideal world, if they could take it down and have it back in 2 days with all the cheating fixed, yeah, I'd agree with you. But have we not seen since COD on PC has become like more like prevalent? Have we not seen that there's just cheaters every year? And every year they either have no anti cheat or they put in ricochet that doesn't work. And
Yep.
like cheaters just run rampant. Like what makes you think like all of a sudden this year they're just gonna remove it and be able to put it right back in and just like
Mhm.
have it fixed? Like that has never been a thing for Call of Duty, like since it's hit PC, we have never been able to fix the cheating issues. So what makes people think that all of a sudden now it's just gonna magically like, oh yeah, we fixed it. Like we took it out and then 2 days later it's fixed. Like I don't understand the take. If they take out rank play and you want them to wait until the cheating issue is fixed, rank play will not be back this year. They're not gonna fix it.
Yeah. If, like you said, do you want to wait and take out the cheating? It's not coming back for the next 5 years. It's like nearly impossible to figure out this like cheating issue.
Yeah, that's the issue. Is it seems like games like Valorant and like I don't know, like other like PC games, they don't seem to have much of an issue. Like I guess I'm not as educated on like the issues in Valorant, but from what I understand, like cheating in Valorant, it's pretty hard to do. I think like you might be able to do it for a little bit, but you get banned pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I believe at least. In terms of COD, like it seems like people never get banned for cheating, and if they do, they can just make a new account and just like cheat more. So it's like do you really think that pulling rank play out of the game is gonna do anything? Like, I just don't understand where people are coming from. Like what is this take? It doesn't like it actually pissed me off when I was reading it. I'm like, okay, so like you're gonna take out rank play so I can't play it so they can, air quotes take out the cheaters that they're not going to do that. They haven't done that for 3 or 4 years now. What makes you think that like they have this solution waiting where they can like just eliminate cheaters? Like you think if they had that, they wouldn't have done it 4 years ago when everybody complains daily for
Mhm.
4 years that there's cheaters everywhere? Like it doesn't make any sense. People like can't be this brain dead.
Yep. Literally. I guess the only solution to it is we go back to console.
Yeah, like for console people, for at least for the meantime, I don't know why they have it disabled, but for console people, like allow them to put on no crossplay. Like that would work for them. Like they want to play PC players, there won't be any cheating.
Yep.
It'll make PC even worse because you can only play against the PC players then, and you'll just run into more cheaters. But I just don't understand this notion of take it out of the game until the cheating thing is fixed because it won't be fixed. Like, do these people really think that they're gonna fix it? Like, they didn't do it for the last how many years? They're just gonna do it now. It makes no sense to me. It really annoyed me when I kept reading that. Like, no, you. It's like since it came out earlier, people think it's like an issue because it came out earlier. It's like no, cheats are probably just becoming easier and easier to get.
Yep.
People are just getting them because they know COD's not gonna stop them and they wanna cheat. Like, I wish do you know the way that we could solve it? If there wasn't weirdos out there that wanted to cheat, we could solve it pretty quickly.
Yeah,
But
but
people are weird.
people are weird, definitely, and like to cheat for some reason. I don't understand why. I don't. I just don't get out the whole cheat aspect. Even
I don't get it either. I don't get how you get dope or how, like, you have fun with it. It's just like, okay, like, you're winning every game because 'cause you're cheating, like, you're dropping numbers, but, like, I
it
don't
takes no
understand.
skill.
Yeah, like, I don't understand, like, wow, you can see me through the wall and you have aim lock onto my head and you just insta kill me. Like, yeah, you went 65 and 5 and dominated a hard point. Like, I don't understand how that is fun. Or
Yeah.
like searching like you can't like that's the fun part about rank is like, oh, it's 230, 230. Like you make a big kill on rotation, all of a sudden you pop a three-piece in the hill, you win the game for your team. It's like that's like the fun part about ranked. Like search and destroy, you clutch a big 1v2. Uh like to put yourself up 5-4, you clutch a 1v2 to win the game and like ice it instead of letting it go to around 11. Like those are the fun moments. If you can just see them through the walls, like I don't understand how you get excitement out of that. It's like, okay, it makes no sense to me. You cheat, you're weird.
Yep. I agree.
Uh all right. Here we go, Brock. Tier list. What we're doing here for this tier list is ranking people for Black Ops 6. So this is a completely subjective list. Like you can, if you're in the comments, I'm always tweeting back and forth with our boy Jake Maverick. It's so funny when you make tier list, people like act like you killed their family if you put somebody in a ranking they don't agree with. Uh, so this is a completely subjective tier list. Like we could have somebody in S that you think is going to be D tier, you can't really argue with us because it's where we think they're gonna be. Like, you can definitely have your own opinion of like, oh, you Brock and I think this guy's gonna be A, you think he's gonna be C. Absolutely, have your take. But like, we're doing this completely on our own opinion, where we think people are gonna be this year. Obviously, this list is gonna be funny when we look back in like June come champs time because probably at least 10 of these players are gonna get benched. And we'll
Yeah.
probably put one of them in A, and all of a sudden he'll be benched after major one. And it's going to look funny, but we're just going to predict it. We might make some bold predictions. We might keep it kind of chalk, but now that we have a feel for the game, and that we've played it ourselves, we've seen some pros play it. We've seen how it plays. We're going to rank the players. Some of them are going to be hard to rank because there's people like Rencore that we haven't really seen play. There's people like the Falcons boys that we haven't really seen play, but we'll just go from the top down from the players, the way they're listed, starting with 04 Brock.
All four. Good S&D player. Pretty average play overall.
Yeah, good S&D player. I think good S&D player, up and down, can be really good in respawn, can be really bad, and I do feel like he is a high ceiling player. There's a lot of potential with him.
Yeah. Do we want to put him in B for now?
I don't mind B. The one thing I think about him is if his team is having success on the Vancouver Surge, it'll probably be because he's popping off. Like I do think he has a chance to put up good numbers this year because I feel like Hexy is going to try to put him in a position to succeed and do a lot of the dirty work and let 04 just get kills. So I could see a
Hmm.
world where like if their team is good, it's probably because 04 is being set up really well and he could be A, but I like him in B tier. I think he's a good player that's going to have flashes of brilliance and then have some moments of like yikes.
Yep. I like it.
Then Brock, the next guy,
A BZ.
easy. This game seems to be made for him, I will say.
It does. Either A or S, because I don't think he's below B or C or D from anyone.
I think Abizi is going to be S this year.
I can get on board with that.
I really think with how fast, like this game might fit him more than like almost anybody. Now, with that said, also we need the sub to be pretty good. And like from what we're hearing, a lot of people think the AR is very good, but we did hear on LAN at the tournament that the sub might have been pretty damn good. I think Abizi's an S tier. Like this game, like we were talking about, we keep talking about how fast it is and how like you got to play super aggressive, super fast, super decisive. Like if there's anybody that plays fast in the entire league, Abizi is the guy that runs it down the most. He's like the fastest player, the first blood king. Like
Yep.
I think this game is made for Abizi. I think like it sounds weird to say he's a dark horse MVP candidate, but I do feel like people have like Hydra, they have Scrap, they even have Simp again to go back to back. They have shottzyy, they have Pred. I feel like Abizi's kind of relegated down into like sixth or seventh for MVP, and I do feel like he is a definite legit candidate for it. Like this play
Hmm.
style, like his play style could really fit into this game. I think he's S tier this year.
Yep. They're like kind of what's the word I'm trying to say? Like he hasn't had the best last couple of years, and so they're not high on his list right now. But game looks to be made for him, so it looks like he have a good year.
Yeah. And it's just funny the standard he's held to. Like I agree. Like for his standard, he hasn't had the like best few years, like the past like little bit here, but like he's still been a very, very, very good
Yeah, they're
player.
still good years compared to other
Like
people.
most people would dream to have the years he's been having, where constant seconds, wins here and there, good numbers. Like most people would dream to have the years he's been having, and we're saying like, yeah, it hasn't been the best.
Yeah, does like the hardest job really.
100% he does, and he's the best. He created a new role, damn near. I mean, obviously like an entry frag was like always a thing, but Abizi does it in a totally different way.
Yep, sure
Next
does.
guy, next guy, bro, a guy we're both high on, Abuza.
I'll put him in A.
Agree. I think he could have S tier moments, but I'm not ready to just be like, boom, you go up there with like Scrap, Abizi, like the top guys.
Yeah.
But I think Abuz is going to have a really good year. I think he's going to be the best player on his team. Like I feel really confident saying I think he's going to be the best player in his team this year.
Yep. I think we're
He's
we're we're both on board. If he's gonna have to have a pretty good year if Vancouver wants to do anything really.
and he was excellent at champs, and really like once he got switched to his proper role last year after the team changes on Seattle, like we just saw him continue. Like it seemed like every match, step forward, step forward, step forward. And by the time champs came around, he was cooking at champs. Like he was let down. His team should have won a series. He was let down by his team.
Yep. Whoever put him on the sub needs to be
Yeah,
questioned.
yeah, that is bad. Uh, Next guy, Brock, Dylan Attach, another player I think we're both really high on. I'm a
Yes.
little questioning his sub duo on his team. Obviously, we've talked about that. The Mac Kremp duo,
Mhm.
a little bit questioning there. That could hurt his stock if his subs aren't playing as well. But I do think Attach is going to be really good. I'm kind of thinking A or B for Attach.
Um, I kind of more leaning towards A.
I can get on board with that. Do you want to? Okay, before we get into this further, do we want to like specifically order them in the tiers?
We can.
Let's do
Def-
that. I think he goes behind Abuza though,
yes.
because I think Abuza is gonna have like a breakout year, and I think Attach is gonna be like he has been since he's like become like a full time main AR. Is it's like every match you look at Attach and it's gonna be like, man, he's really good. Like he's just a really good player. He doesn't really like the good thing about Attach that I think keeps him so high up in like A or B, like as like a middle of the pack or better player is he has a very high floor as well.
Mhm.
Like his ceiling at this point in his career might be capped. He might not have like the complete takeover moments, but his floor is so high. Like Attach's bad games are usually not really that bad. Like his bad games are still like decent.
Yeah. Usually pretty consistent overall and very clutch for his team usually.
Good S&D player usually as well.
Yep.
Brock Benjamin Beans is up next. I think we're both high on him
Beans.
as well. We have interestingly, these players are like roughly in alphabetical order just by like the names of the files. Uh but Beans, a player I think we're both relatively high on. We've got a lot of players early on that we're both high on just by chance.
Yeah.
I don't think I can
Beans.
put him I don't think he deserves to be up there in the tier with Attach and Abuza because I am more confident in those two having really good years. I
Mhm.
think Beans is gonna have a good year. I'd be comfortable slotting him right ahead of O4 and B tier, but
Yep.
I think he fits perfectly in B tier because it's like a guy that I think is gonna have a really good year, but there are some hesitations with him. I
Yep.
don't know if he is in his best role with his team, being like more of like a flex. It could be his best role. I'm not 100% sure if his fit next to Insight's the best, and obviously like your fit on your team affects how well you play. But I have a lot of faith in Beans the player. Just like take out all the other factors. I think he's a good player, so I like him in B tier.
Like it. Same. I like Beans in B tier.
Next one is your boy Brock.
As he's back with vengeance.
It's Treyarch. We're asking for Cold War Cammy. It's been 4 years now, 5 years since we've been begging for Cold War Cammy to come back.
Yep.
4 years, I believe.
It's not gonna happen though.
It's not gonna happen. I don't love his team, which hurts his stock. I do think the AR duo on their team could actually like end up being a decent like Cammy and Awakening if they actually like hit even close to potential. They could be a decent slaying duo. I don't know that I want to throw Cammy all the way down in D because I do feel like he's a decent player always. Like I think he could be like a low C tier player this year.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely don't think he's D tier. So C will do.
Next guy, Brock.
Oh man,
Helium.
this guy.
Such a hard player to rank because I mean the talent is obviously S tier. Like the talent is there. And his
Six.
numbers are gonna show that, like, if you just it's like a box score warrior. If you look at it, his numbers are gonna show S because he's gonna have the number 1 KD.
Yep, every year.
I just
Man.
do we put like it's this is the where I can already hear the YouTube comments. If you put him if we put him in to S, it's gonna be like he's kill whore. He just puts up empty stats. You know, he doesn't play for the win. If we put him in A, it's gonna be like, all right, he's gonna have the number 1 KD. How is he in A? I just I don't know. It kind of depends how many people we put in S because I know you're not supposed to limit it to like a certain number, but I like to keep S tier as limited as possible because I think S tier like it is a special tier. Like if everybody's in S, it doesn't mean it's special. Like I like to keep S as limited as we
Yep.
possibly can to like the
I,
really top players.
I'd say sell him in A, but like, where do we put him?
I think if we put him in A, he has to be at the top because he is like because we're debating if he goes in S, and I think we both agree that Abuza and Attach definitely have to stay in A. And
Yeah.
Celium, we're like, could he be in S? So I think Celium might just like remain that if we keep him in A, he has to remain the top of A until further notice, I think.
Yep. She says she's just so hard to like just judge because like you said, always the number 1 KD, but maybe not the most impactful for the team.
Yeah, and he is such a good player. Like the talent is no doubt an S tier level talent. It's just like the impact he has in the game. Will it be like S tier level? I just don't know.
Yeah.
Rock. Next, we've got Toby, Kleenex. Interestingly, they're roughly in alphabetical order. Interestingly enough, that gets a lot of top players right away. Like we're loading up the A and S tier B. Like nobody's in D tier yet. And I mean, when you look at the players coming up, uh, like even the next 4 or 5 players, is a lot of really good players. Even after that, a lot of good ones coming up.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
Kleenex, I'm definitely not thinking S here. He gets to still play with his duo Insight, and honestly, I
Hmm.
think he is on a very good team.
Yep.
I love his sub duo in Joe Deceives. I love Beans. I think Kleenex can slot in A tier.
Yeah. The last of A.
You think Last of A?
Mm, yeah.
Okay, I can get down with that. I think it's just consistency issues always seem to arise for Kleenex, but I think he is. I mean, he's on a pretty good team. I think his team is going to settle into the top 5 probably, and I think he is going to have another really good year. Another game that, like, if we're talking play style wise, Kleenex is another guy that plays very fast. This game seems to fit him very well.
Yep. I like it. Who knows? Maybe at the end of the year, he can be, having really good year and be move up to the S.
And that's why I like I think a lot of ways that I can tell if a player's in A is like, will they have like S tier moments and how often will they happen? Because like most players will have like a life in a hard point where they have like in an S tier mode.
Yep.
Like I think like when I look at like a guy like 04 and a guy like Beans, like I think they could have those moments where they look like an S player, but I think they're gonna be few and far between and pretty rare. But then like guys like Attach, Abuza, Kleenex, Celium, I think they're gonna have those moments a lot more often, which bumps them up to A. And I think
Hmm.
Kleenex is a player that he could have a whole tournament like that and he wins an MVP of a tournament.
Yep.
Like Kleenex is that good. He has that much of a takeover. So I like him in A tier.
Agreed.
Brock, are we just gonna spam fill the A tier for a
I think we're spam filming right now.
couple more? Because the next 2 players I think are I think they slot right behind Celium.
Yep.
I like to put Draza 1 behind Celium and Dashi right behind Draza. But I'd be okay with flipping them if you think Dashi ahead of Draza. I'll defer to you. I'll let you decide on this one.
I actually am really high on Draza.
Yeah. So you want to do Celium first, Draza second, and then Dashi in third?
Yeah.
I can get
I
down with that.
mean, I would honestly maybe put Draza in front of Celium for the impact of his team
You
in a
think so? You
way.
want to go ahead and do that? People will love that, I'm sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we'll put Draza first. I'm okay with it. I think Draza is an excellent player. He was awesome last year. I think you could definitely make an argument he was more impactful to his team last year than Celium.
Yep.
Uh, and Dashy, I don't hate if you put Dashy in front of these two also, like Draza and Celium, I don't hate it. I'm not gonna like say that's a terrible take. I think you would probably agree with that. Like if you put Dashy in front of them, I don't hate that.
Yeah, I definitely don't hate it.
I think Dashy more than a lot of players, more than most players over the past, I don't know, basically his career, the past 4 or 5 years. I think Dashy has had so much development as a player. Like when he first came in, he was just like the guy that could get kills.
Yep.
And then it was like, he maybe he's kill whoring, like he puts up big numbers, but is he playing for the win? And he has shifted his game so much to like he just, he soaks the hill. He's just playing much more disciplined at S&D. Like he's not ego challenged as much because he's a guy that if he holds an angle and gets an iron on you, like he's really not losing that fight. Like he might have the best gun skill in the league in terms of just like straight a shot. Like
Mhm.
he's
So
not losing
all
that fight, and he's such a good player. I just think I don't know, I feel like Draza especially is put in so much more positions to have impact, whereas like Dashy tends to have to play a little slower for his team.
Yep. That's just like kind of like the role where you don't get as much engagement as usually holds down a lane. Just it's very like very honest, reliable on the
Yeah.
map.
It's like you need a crucial gunfight, Dashy's in it, you can rely on him to win that. He's gonna win those gunfights. And
Yeah.
he is an excellent player. And I actually expect I know we just put him in A tier behind those two, but I actually think Dashy is gonna have an awesome year. I'm very high. To be honest with you, I'm pretty much high on all the players in the top three teams because their teams are so good. But I like just because the players in the top teams are all such like good slay heavy players for the most part that like this game seems to like I think Dashy is gonna be excellent at this game.
Yeah. I
Next guy,
like it.
Brock, Dylan Envoy. Uh
Envoy. I think he's I don't know if he's would you put him in A? I feel like I want to put him in top of B.
See, for me, I am so on board with you right now. I think he literally, like, based on the list we have, I think he slots in between Beans and Kleenex.
Yep.
I'm just trying to decide if I think it's above Beans and B or right below Kleenex and A. Would you agree he's in between for the players we have on the board right now? He's in between those two.
Yeah.
I I can get on board with putting him top of B. I really think like I think he's gonna have a big impact this year, but I think he's gonna have some struggles at times because he had his struggles. Like there was a stretch there for like a full stage plus where Envoy was pretty bad last year.
Yeah. He was terrible for a whole stage.
Like he was dropping point fives, like a point five was what you expected out of him at hardpoint for like a full stage. It was that bad.
Yeah. It was a rough month, but he did bring it back at the end with champs.
Yes, absolutely. And with that said, we both are not dumb. We know Envoy's a very good player, and I assume he's gonna have a pretty good year because I think he's gonna win at least one event.
Yep.
I just think that like there's only kind of like in basketball, there's only one ball. uh in COD, there's only so much kills to go around. I think Envoy is just not going to put up big numbers. I think it's going to look like he's struggling a lot because he's probably going to be doing dirty work. Hydra, Scrap, Ghosty getting so many kills. I think just like Envoy is going to be sitting there doing the dirty work, be a solid player, but I don't think he's going to have like too many crazy pop off moments. So I like him. I like to put him top of B though.
Mhm. Yep.
Now,
I like it. I agree.
next guy, Brock Estriel, uh, on a team in Minnesota with Paul, Nero, and why am I blanking on the last one?
Paul,
Geo.
Geo.
Yeah. A team that I feel like is one of the most mysterious teams. Like a lot of the teams, I feel like, and I know I'll be wrong on some, but I feel like I have a decent pulse on where I think they're going to be. That team, I could see them being, the fifth team, or I could see them being like 10th, 11th. I really don't know.
Yep.
But I do think Estriel is going to be pretty good. I think he's another B tier guy.
I like it. We would put him at the end or in front of someone.
I like slotting him in between 04 and Beans.
Okay. Yep.
I like Estriel. I think he's a really good player. I think he could potentially be outshined on his team a little bit by like the likes of Nero, but I think he's a really good player, and I think he's gonna. So he had a really good rookie of the year or rookie year. He wasn't really in contention for rookie of the year until LAG made their run at the end, and people started to really make him a hot commodity for that. I think
Mhm.
this is going to be a year. It's a really big year for Estriel because like it's like okay, you had one good year as a rookie. We've seen people before have really good years as a rookie and then kind of fall off and they're out of the league within a year or two. It's like if Estriel can establish another solid year of play, he's gonna establish himself as one of those players that's like consistently like he'll find himself on a champs contending team as an SMG, and then eventually like a lot of SMGs do, they try to catch lightning in a bottle. They maybe get on one good team where they make a run and they win a couple events. Like I think Estriel has a
Hmm.
chance to himself as like a staple player in the league this year. I think he's gonna do it. I think he's gonna be pretty solid B tier.
Hmm. Yep, I like it.
Next guy, Brock. I got to make sure I have the right player because I don't remember the Falcons players' faces as much. This is Xnid,
Xnid.
right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yes. And this is, if I remember correctly, like we don't, this is the ones where we're so ignorant on. If I remember correctly, this was the dude that was cracked at, uh, I believe this was the dude that was just cracked at the World Cup.
Okay.
Um, I'm looking, yeah, this is excellent. Sorry, we had to confirm it. So we know all the pros usually always, but these are just like new guys that we've never seen before. I want to go like the tough thing is from what I've heard, I thought like Falcons isn't even getting scrims because I don't either they're not in the States yet or like people just don't want to scrim them because they like don't get anything from it. I could be wrong on that, but it's going to be interesting. Like, is this team just going to get bodied?
Uh, the might are not getting scrims. They're not practicing.
Like, I'm sure they are practicing and stuff, but like, I mean, like Clay's their coach. Like, they're going to get stuff in. But I will say, if I'm remembering this right, I think Exnit was the kid that seemed to have the most mechanical skill. So I want to put him in the bottom of C tier and just make a bold prediction because I think every other Falcons player are probably just going to throw in D because we just don't know what to do with them and they're like at a clear disadvantage.
Yeah, I like
Let's
it.
go bold. Exnit has pop off moments, and we're saying he's in the bottom of C. Screw it. It's the most random thing.
Let's do it. And then in about 2 months, he's gonna be in A tier.
Imagine. Though there's a decent chance they all end up in D tier, but we're just having fun. We're gonna throw them in C tier
Yep.
for fun. So it's gonna look really bad when we put like a actual mainstay pro in D tier, and like this random dude that we've like literally never seen play goes ahead of them. Just know it's more for just the fun of being like we think this guy's gonna be the best player on Falcons, so we're throwing him in C.
Yep.
Brock, I think the next guy's an A tier player.
Agreed.
We've seen him take a step forward. You know, obviously came into Optic and he was kind of filling a role maybe he wasn't used to. The one thing I will say is I people are so high on Dan Ghosty right now. I do think there's a world where he takes a slight step back
Hmm.
because like when we saw him on Optic, he was with a bunch of star players like that the slay heavy players, huke, shottzyy, dashy, like slay heavy players. I think there's a world he takes a step back because like on that team he had to fill a role of like, you know, being the guy that was in the hill a lot, you know, doing the more of the dirty work. Whereas on this team, I think like he's potentially going to get relegated back to that role where it's like, well, Scrap and Hydra are like, you know, the main slayers in this team, like Ghosty, you know, play a little slower, like do the dirty work, you know, get in the hill a little bit more. Where Envoy can do some of that stuff too, but I think we might see a slight step back from Ghosty. But I still think it's a point where like I want to put him between Attach and Abuza in A tier if you're good with that.
Yes.
Is there somewhere else that you'd rather put him? But because I think he's gonna be really good, but I think not. You know, he's another one of those players that maybe people might say S, but our boy Jake Maverick probably put him in S. That's his guy.
I just don't think he's gonna put the stats up, so an A. But we still know he's a great player.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm good with A in between Abuza and Attach.
yeah, I'm good with that. Uh, Next guy is Geo Brock, a guy again, mechanical skill, definitely a lot of talent there. Can he translate it to wins in really his second year of action here?
Man, thinking definitely B tier. Not sure exactly
I'm wondering.
where.
I'm just like we've heard a lot of pros say things about like Geo. Like, is he skilled? Sure, but like he maybe struggles to like play the game the correct way, and I can see that in a way. I wouldn't mind putting Geo just below 04 in the bottom of B because I do think he's a B tier player, but I want to see him win a little more this year because like
Hmm.
his team didn't win a ton last year, and he had a like Nero attached. He had a pretty solid team.
Yeah.
Johnny wasn't too bad. Like, let's put him at the bottom of B if you're good with that.
Yep. I'm good with that.
Proc the next guy. I'm high on him.
S.
You laugh, but like if Ravens are end up being the fourth or fifth team, it's probably because Gwen's popping off, and you and I are both confident in them.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit too far to put him ahead of Draza and Celium for this year. I think
Who
he's gonna have
knows?
an awesome year, though. I want to slot him in. I think We could go bold and put him ahead of a. I think either ahead or right one ahead of Abuza or one behind him is where I'm thinking.
Um, let's go bold. Let's go ahead of Abuza.
Okay, those are. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you and I tend to have a lot of like similar takes on COD. But I think of players that are like we've seen good flashes from them, but they haven't really broken out into like full superstar. I think those are the two guys. Because obviously, like the guys ahead of those two right now, Dashy, Stellium, Draza, BZ, like those are like superstar players that like have been superstars for a while. I think like our two guys that we see breaking out as the next superstars in their role for SMG, it's Gwyn, and for AR, it's Abuza. Like I think those are the two guys you and I are really looking at.
Yep.
We're really high on them, and you can tell because every time we get a chance to talk about them, you and I are both gassing them up as players we think are really good.
Mm-hmm. And it's gonna be warranted after this season.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm a little scared because I don't love the Surge team as we've talked about numerous times, but I love the Ravens team. I want them to be good, and I want Gwyn to be so good.
Yep. I like it.
Next guy, kind of the opposite. I don't know that we're too high on him, although I do think like we seem to bash him a lot, but he is a good player in the right role.
He
It's
does win
Hixie.
in the right role.
Yeah, and because he's such a winner, and I do think like I do think he is gonna have like impact on winning. I don't like the idea of putting him in D tier.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like I just think he's gonna be like a player where he has impact plays on winning, but he doesn't really ever have takeover moments, so it's hard to put him as like a top player. But I think he's gonna be like a C tier player where he helps them win, but like the takeover isn't there, so it's hard to put him as like a stud player.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you put
Uh,
him wherever you want between those three players. I'll let you put him wherever.
let's put him at the top of C.
Okay. Ahead of your boy Killer Cam.
Yep. Cold War.
Brock. I mean,
I
next
mean,
guy.
it's Hydra.
I think he goes number one in S for now at least.
Yep.
All due
Not my.
respect to Abizi, an incredible player, but Hydra might be the best right now. He might be the best in the world.
Yeah. Not no word. Just say his name. S tier.
Yeah, he's one of a kind. He's excellent.
Yep.
Insight Brock, an interesting one. I feel like there.
Winsight.
I have two tiers I would be going between for Insight. Because I kind of have a take on it, but I want you to say where you want him, and I'll just defer to you unless I think it's crazy.
For insight for me, looking at these players, I'm thinking. I'm thinking a B tier. I don't think he's quite an A tier from his last year performance and what I think he'll do this year.
For this year, do you think he's closer to A or C?
I think I don't think he's an A tier player anymore. So maybe closer to C.
I think he's closer. I think he's closer to C this year as well. I just like Insight hasn't moved me. He hasn't adapted his play style much in basically since he's been in the league. It seems like he's
Mm-hmm.
a good player. He's a player I feel like as a main AR that like his teams, as long as he has decent teams with him, like he always will find a way to be in the mix, top six, qualifying for champs and stuff. His teams will always be in the mix. But I don't know. He just like he's clutch for sure. He makes plays, but he just doesn't move me as like a stud player.
Yeah.
I maybe put him ahead of Geo and behind 04 and B tier for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it. He's just not a
Yeah,
player that will take over.
and I will say if Toronto Ultra this year don't have like I think you and I both put them to, like finish at least like fourth or fifth in regular season standings.
Mm-hmm.
So both of us believe they're going to be a pretty good team. I maybe you disagree, but I would say for me, if Toronto Ultra does flop and they aren't as good as we expected them to be this year, I think it probably will be Insight will be one of the first guys on the list because I think Joe and Clean actually going to be really good.
Yeah.
I think it's going to come down to Beans and Insight if it doesn't work, which is why I'm kind of like Insight. Like I'm not as high on him. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think he's more B teetering towards C, but I like him in B tier.
Yep. Same here.
The next guy, Brock, I feel like we're
Ooh.
both going to say he's teetering between A and B.
S tier. Joe
We're very
Deceive.
high on Joe Deceives.
Dang. Where do we put Joe? I don't even know where to put him. A or B,
I
A or
I think
B.
he's top of B or bottom of A. It's just like if we put him in A, we're really thinking with insight in B and beans in B, we're really thinking like we're really establishing ourselves as really becoming Toronto stands, putting them in like fourth in the standings and stuff.
I
I don't know.
say I say we put him at the front of B.
Ahead of Envoy,
Yeah.
I'm down for that. I think he's gonna have better looking numbers than Envoy this year, just with the context of the team and everything. I do think him and Kleenex are like a crucial thing in the league this year because him and Kleenex as a duo potentially have the chance to be the best sub duo that's not on the top three teams,
Yep.
which could make a big difference. I think Joe is in for a big year. I think him and Kleenex are going to be a very chaotic and good sub duo.
Mhm.
Rock, that was
Ooh,
our boy. This is my boy, Kenny.
man.
I will not allow us to put him lower than A.
For what he does for a team, I want to put him at S. But yeah, it's
So
not
do I,
right.
but I don't want to put him in S. I want to, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
I want to put Kenny. Maybe this is a hot take, and everybody knows how much I love Kenny, but I want to put Kenny right in between Ghosty and Abuza.
Okay.
I think he's gonna have a better year than Ghosty. I really do. I just think given the context of the team, I think shottzyy and Pred tends to play a little slower. I feel like it allows Kenny to speed up a little bit. I do think Kenny likes to like we all know Kenny likes to chow. Kenny likes to play fast.
He
Like
loves Chow.
I think this game is made for Kenny. Like if there's a third sub in some situations on the fast maps has to be pulled out, Kenny's gonna be one of the best to do that for the flexes. Kenny loves to chow. He loves to play fast. Game fits his play style. I feel like he's always making like maybe the most impactful plays of almost anybody in the league. One of the smartest players. I can go on and on. I always talk about how good Kenny is, and I got bashed. I feel like I went through the ringer for so many years because like Kenny didn't win a ring for a while since World War II. I've been like beating the drum for how good of a player, and then after World War II, he developed so
Mhm.
much into an even better player in so many other ways. And then he goes to LA Thieves. They're bad in OGLA is kind of bad in MW19. Then Cold War Kenny might be good, but his team's not very good. And then going into Vanguard, I'm just still beating the drum for Kenny. He finally wins a ring. And then since then, people are like Kenny's trash, like not good. When they picked him up on Optic, I was going to war, like saying that he was a great pickup, and people were like, "Ugh, anybody but Kenny." Remember we were reading those comments?
Yep. We're reading them.
Anybody but Kenny, and I was like, "This is a great pickup. He wins champs." So I mean, Kenny's just that guy. He's undeniable. You can't deny it. He's been in what, 4 champs finals, World War II, BO4 in the last 2 that he's won. Like
Mhm.
he's too good. He's gonna have a great year.
Just a winner.
The only thing that puts any hesitation on me for Kenny is I still think at any point, I don't think Optic would ever make a change in season, coming off a champs win. But if they ever were, like Kenny forever and always will be the guy that gets scapegoated by Optic if they struggle.
Yep.
Because I feel like Dashy and shottzyy at this point are basically like the Scump and Formal to the Optic brand. Like they're just going to keep those two pretty much no matter what until they decide to retire.
Mhm.
And then I feel like Pred is kind of like Optic's is darling child because he came over and he was like supposed to be the superstar. And Kenny definitely was always like going to be the scapegoat. So I will say if Optic does somehow struggle this year, champs like hangover, that's the only worry is Kenny will be the scapegoat and be kicked out probably.
Yep.
Next guy, Brock. I believe this is Khalid. I think. Just making sure because on the CDL website, they have his gamer tag listed KHHX. I believe I've seen everybody calling him Khalid. I feel like, we made our fun, just little prediction of putting Exon did because I swear he was the correct one in bottom of C. But I feel like the rest of the Falcons players, I think we just throw them in DM. I just do that now.
Yeah.
It's just so hard because
I agree.
it's not like these other players we make a prediction for like a guy like whom some people like I don't know, like some people might have Hixie in B, some people might think he's gonna be A, we think he's gonna be C. Like those are players we've seen. So we're actually like making a judgment based on some knowledge that we have with the Falcons players. We're just having fun putting X in C, but like putting him in D isn't a disrespect thing either. It's just like I mean, these guys they're put at such a disadvantage for what they're being asked to do. Like
Yep.
never played in the pro league. I don't think they've ever lived in America. They're moving to America. They're playing in the pro league and just getting chucked in and playing the best players in the world. Like they're being put at an extremely hard spot. Like it's not going to be an easy feat for them to accomplish.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, if that
Uh,
team finishes anything other than last, I'd say that was a hell of a year. Coming in and not taking last when you're just getting chucked to the wolves like this.
yeah, a lot of things to overcome. Kind of excited to see how they perform and play. Maybe who knows? They'll shock us and play pretty good.
Maybe, yeah. Brock, Kismet's next.
Kids,
Kismet is a very, very good role player. He was super key in unlocking who Hydra was the past few years. He had a rough go of it at champs down the stretch last year.
he had a rough go at champs.
Yeah, is that rough go enough to put him down into C based on his team? Is he still B tier?
Oh man, like I honestly don't know where to put him between B or C.
See, I think just because he had like a short stretch of bad play, I still like look at the guys in C and I'm like Kismet's a step above those guys. Like
Yeah.
above Pixie and Cammy. Like I still see Kismet as a step above. I'd be down to put him in the bottom of B because we know Kismet can be like pushed up into an A tier player. And at times he can be pushed down into a C tier player. I just feel like his average is more like he's a really solid B tier player. So I like him there. I think
Mm,
that's how he's going to be this year. I'm a little scared. Maybe like, maybe Priesta is kind of losing it a little bit. Skies, like maybe the AR duo doesn't have a lot in them. But like they won 3 events with this roster, but the problem is they had Hydra and not Lins. And like we're saying, like, oh, they won 3 with these 3 players, but like the player they're missing of the fourth was like literally the best player in the world.
yeah, it's a big loss
So it's a
there.
big miss. But like I think Kismet's gonna do a good job enabling Lins and making him a really good player this year. Like to the potential that we saw in flashes for Lins last year.
Hmm.
I like Kismet at the bottom of B.
I agree.
Kremp Brock.
Cramp, man, Cramp. He's like has a lot of talent, but then will throw a stinker up. So inconsistent.
I'm gonna defer to you. I'll let you fully decide this one because I think I'm gonna be okay with whatever you say.
Uh, I say top C.
Okay, I feel like it's a bold take. I feel like a lot of people put him in B, but I'm okay with it. I will say though, Kremp does a lot of times like to play really fast. So there is a world where this play style, like this game's play style, really does fit him and he excels.
Hmm.
And I love the AR duo behind him, but like we've said all off season, neither of us are very high on this sub duo.
Yeah, the could be very shaky but who knows? Maybe it can. Maybe it won't be.
Because Mac could be really good, but like we just haven't seen him like since 2 years ago now, and he wasn't very good the last time we saw him. Mac was struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
Next is Lucky Brock. His numbers started to look good towards the end of last year, but I'm still not like convinced about Lucky. I feel like he's C tier.
Yeah. Yeah. C
What do you
tier,
think?
but
Let's put him behind Kremp.
yeah, I think Cramp has more talent.
Yeah, for sure. I could see like I Lucky will probably put up like more consistent numbers just because his role's easier.
Hmm.
But I like him in C tier as well. Like Kremp, I like him below because I see him like a world where Kremp is in B tier much easier than Lucky.
Yeah.
Uh, we got Linsbrock. We just talked about how we thought Kismet could unlock him. Is that enough to move him up into like the A tier? I
I don't think.
personally don't think so.
I don't think A tier, but
I do
I
think he's
think
pretty high in B though.
I think Lynn's. Oh man, I kind of want to put him in front of Estrio or in front of Beans.
Um, I was thinking in front of Beans, so let's do that.
Yep.
I like it. I think he's gonna have a good year. Like he's gonna be on the team he's on. He's gonna be put in a position. I feel like to be like the main slayer and get a lot of kills. Like his numbers are gonna look good. I think.
Yep. He was pretty good at the start of last year until they made that switch.
Yeah, until they took out Vivid, which was criminal.
Yep.
Uh, Next guy is Mac Brock. He coming off a year where he wasn't the best back in MW2. We didn't see him last year due to some personal reasons and stuff. I do believe there's a lot of good that Mac could do. I feel like so in my head, I want to put Mac either above Kremp and C or like at the bottom of B because it just there's too many questions around him right now. I just don't know.
I don't know. You can pick this one. Haven't seen it in a
Um,
while. he is a good player when right situation, stuff like that.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go top of C above Kremp. I do feel like I might regret that, and he might end up being a really good player this year. It's just hard to say because like it's almost like the Cammy situation. Granted he didn't play last year, so it's a little different. But like I haven't seen Mac be like the stud that we saw in MW19 since like he had some good moments in Cold War and like he had some like pretty good moments in Vanguard. But even in Vanguard, he was a little inconsistent and like it's been quite some time since we've seen like a consistent, really good Mac.
Yep.
So I like to put him at top of C, but I definitely could see him being in B tier. You just got to fill out some of these tiers a little more. Then
Mm-hmm.
Brock Metals is next, a player that like started a little bit hot, but then he had a rough stretch and then switched to an AR and started to get better. I kind of like Metals in C tier again. I don't know that he's gonna have the best year. I'm just not overall that high on this Heretics team.
Yeah.
I like to put him right in front of Lucky.
Yep. I'd say he's a little better than Lucky.
Yeah, he's gonna have a little more impact, play a little faster. I'm just not. He wasn't bad last year. Like he probably was closer to a B tier player. Towards the end, he was playing a little better. But I don't know. I just don't. I'm not super high on him this year. I'm not high on that team in general.
Yeah. Team is kind of like the same. Feels like.
Yeah. Then we got our boy Nasty on the Vancouver Surge this year. We got his teammate Abuza in A. We got 04 in B. We got his other teammate Hixie in C. I don't know. Where are you leaning for Nasty? I feel like we might disagree on this one.
I'm thinking B.
I'm actually thinking B as well. I kind of want to put him behind 04, right behind his teammate,
I can get on board with that.
right ahead of Insight. I like Nasty a lot. I think he's a really good player. I think he has pop off moments, but I think overall Nasty just brings consistency. Like
Yep.
I don't think he. I think he has like. I think he's a lower ceiling, higher floor player. Like he's just a good, steady, solid player that can you know help you get the win, but he's not ever really gonna like take over too much. I don't think.
Yep.
Got
I
our boy
agree.
Nero Brock. We were high on
Nero.
Nero all off season.
Man, what, top
What
5 last year in sub? Really?
I will say though is like when I look at this list, just with his team, I have a lot more questions about his team. I don't know that I can like I thought maybe I would want to put him in A because like he's gonna pop off, but with his team, I have some questions like with the Paul, Estriel, Geo. Like I have a question if that team is gonna play structured enough to get wins, and that is a big factor. Like if your team's not winning at all, like I can only put you so far up.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like I might want to slot Nero like somewhere in that cluster of subs in the top of B.
Yeah. I can get on board with that.
I'll let you. Do you want to? I'll let you. Like right now, we have Joe at the top, Envoy is second, and Lynn's third. I'll let you decide where you want to put him. If you want to put him first, second, third, fourth in that group.
Let's put him right behind Joe.
Okay, so you think really like towards the top? I can get on board with that.
Yep.
Our next guy is Paul X Brock,
This
Nero's
guy,
teammate.
he just screams a C player to me.
Yeah, people are really high on him, but I kind of agree with you. I'd like to put him in front of Metals.
Agreed.
People are high on him, but like once again, I think he's a player that's like he can be on a solid team that can be towards the bottom of champs, but he just doesn't move me as like this guy that's gonna be like a super impactful, really good player.
Yep.
We've got Pered Brock, one of our other potential S tier candidate type of guys.
Red.
This game seems like in a way depends on what way you think about it. Like Pred isn't like that super cracked, super fast SMG. He plays more of like his player comp to me is always Scump, like more
Yep.
pre-aim heavy, lay down. Like he plays his POV reminds me a lot of Scump. Like he isn't gonna like wow you with movement, but he is gonna shoot damn straight and he's gonna get kills. That's the same way Scump was. His movement was never crazy, but Scump was gonna gun you.
Yep. All I can think about when you say he probably reminds you of Scump is when all the what the dynasty players in the jetpacks, Scump never jetpack because he
Yeah.
would just gun everyone.
Hey, he was just on the ground gunning. I mean, he would like laugh at people. They'd be jumping up, and Scump would be like, "I'm just gonna sit in the ground and gun him down." Like,
He was playing boots on the ground while we were playing jetpacks.
yeah, and he was so good. But Pred's POV reminds me of him. I really like. You can look at it two ways. The fast, like super fast style is going to maybe hinder Pred because that's not the style he likes to play, or Pred is going to just speed up a little bit, but kind of keep that slower style, and he's going to just be ironing people that are just sprinting at him constantly, and he's going to have a really good year. I don't know. I actually, so my take here, and this might be a little hot, a little bit of a hot take, but I think Pred is either currently where we have the players situated. I think he is the top of A or the bottom of S.
How many guys I guess are we putting into S?
I don't want to put a limit on it because I don't want to like do that, but I want to keep S relatively limited. Like I don't think there should be much more than like 6, maybe 7 guys in there. But I really think Pred's gonna have. I think Optic's gonna have a good year. I think Pred's gonna have a good year. I like Pred either. Like I said, right now with the guys we have, I like him behind a BZ and S, or I want to put him above Draza in A. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
I can definitely get on board.
Which
Mm,
one, above Draza or below BZ?
I'm thinking above Draza at this very
Okay,
moment.
keep him in A.
And then at the end, we can see if we want to move anyone up into S or anything like that.
Okay. Uh, let's.
Priesta.
We went from a stark contrast fading between S and A to Priesta.
Oh man,
Brock, you love him, but I want to put him above Paul X and C.
I'll go for you. I'll go with you because I'll put him way too high.
I just he Priesta, he always could be good. Like we know like MW2 champs, he was awesome. Like he was getting so many assists, he was doing the dirty work, he was that player. But like it feels like in order for Priesta to be really effective, you have to plug him into one of those teams at this point. Like if you plug him in where he can just really like fill in that role of good comms, grab the hill time, do the dirty work, just put damage in, get assists for his star players. Like Priesta can be really good, but it feels like he needs to be in a specific role at this point to do that. I don't know that this team is the team for him. I think he's going to be a solid, decent player, but I feel like he just kind of jumbles into the middle of the pack and see.
Hmm. Yeah.
Purge Brock.
Uh, man, I kind of want to put him top of D.
Put him below. Should we just put all the Falcons players in D because we don't know? Because I feel like it's so disrespectful to put a player that we've seen in the pro league below him.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's put X
Move
in at
that
the top of D.
at the top of D, and we'll put Purge above him. Because the thing with Purge is he does have like, say what you want about Purge. I know like certainly like he didn't put up the numbers we wanted to see last year and all that, but like the team did get worse for a while when he got subbed out, like in respawn and stuff. Like they were winning despite him dropping terrible numbers.
Hmm.
So I do think there's a world where Purge could put himself into like that C tier of players where it's like, he's a serviceable, okay player because like I feel like he does know how to play the game and like he knows how to play for the win, but it's like it's gotta come at an expense where you gotta get some kills too. Like there's playing for the win and then there's just like playing way too hard for it and just not getting kills. Like you gotta still be able to get kills.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I do think Purge could be better than we think, but yeah, it's rough right now.
Yeah. Ooh.
Next guy is Real Brock, probably the player I'm most high on Miami.
Yeah.
Do you
I'd
want to
say so.
bottom B, upper? I feel like he's upper C. I'd be down for bottom of B. I feel like he might have a pretty good year.
We can go bottom of B because he does have the talent. Just doesn't always show it.
Yeah, I feel like he might have a decent year. Um, Next guy, Rencor, another tough one to rank, just because like I think he's got some talent. Probably gonna run a sub this year. Like he could do something. I just don't know a ton about him. I want to throw him uh, maybe right above his teammate Metals and C, just because we don't know. I feel like he could have a really good year, but I'd be really shocked if he's like a pop off like up in B with Real.
Yeah. We can go with C. I really don't know much about him.
Yeah, I mean Brock, we're gonna go S tier with this one.
Yep.
I said I think he might win MVP, but I still don't know that he's necessarily gonna be the best player in the game. Like I said, I think he's winning MVP because I'm like, I don't know, I feel like he's due, but it's still now when I look at it and I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't know if I can put him ahead of Hydra. I think I want to put him second behind Hydra. I feel
Yeah.
like the impact Hydra has, like,
I just so good.
yeah, I want to put him one below because Scrap's probably the best AR in the world right now. And then when it comes down to AR or sub, I always am a little biased in that way. I would probably tend to lean towards sub because I just do think they have more of an impact on the game.
Yep.
All right, Brock. With that being said, with the impact on the game thing, shottzyy. Shottzyy
As
last year, I mean, he's S, no doubt. But
definitely.
Shottzyy last year was like that stretch from like major 3 on, even when Optic was really struggling, Shotzzy was still so good, and at champs, he was the best player in the venue. Like, no
Yep.
doubt about it, Shotzzy was the best player in the venue. That guy was taking over. I think he's at least above a BZ, and we can have the conversation above impact and stuff. I think this year, with the way the game is going to be played, I think Hydra's going to be like the star of his team. Scrap is going to be incredible. There's no doubt about it, but I kind of want to put Shotzzy above Scrap and put him too.
Yep. I agree with the Omni movement, all the stuff he's gonna pull out of his bag.
And I feel like he's gonna be the best player in his team, and I think Hydra is still gonna probably be the best player in his team. I mean, we're choosing between Hydra and Scrap on their team. Like,
Yeah.
Scrap's probably gonna be the best AR this year. There's a decent chance Hydra is probably the best sub this year, but I think Shotzzy is gonna be the guy that's battling with Hydra for the title of best sub, so I like him in two.
Yep.
Next guy is Sib Brock. This guy was
The
popping off towards the
villains.
end of the year last year. I got him in A tier for sure.
Yep.
I think I got him right
Where
above his teammate Attach, below Ghosty. Yeah.
I get on board.
Okay. Next guy, Brock. Simp.
Oh man,
He's always an S
as
tier. It's a question
where
of, is he going to be better than his teammate a BZ? I typically tend to rate him better than a BZ, but you're splitting hairs there. Once again, the whole sub impact thing, I think he's the other guy. That's the reason I think, it's Hydra, it's Shotzzy, it's Simp, it's BZ. Those four are going to be the debate for the top sub in the game at all times. And then the fifth sub is probably going to be like Pred. He's probably going to be the guy for the fifth sub, which is why he's right down there on top of A. So for me, the places I'm thinking about putting Simp, I think Shotzzy might have a better year, although people know I'm higher on Simp than like almost anybody. I think he might be the GOAT when all said and done. Like I think Simp is incredible. I got him either above a BZ. I'd be okay with putting him right below BZ. I'd be okay with putting him above Scrap. That's kind of where I'm thinking. I'll let you make the decision.
man, it is a Treyarch game. He's never lost on a Treyarch game.
Because you could use the excuse of like, hey, the subs, I just rate them higher, even though Scrap's the best they are in the game. I just rate the subs higher. You could put them ahead of Scrap, or I'd be okay with putting them below.
It's Simp. I let's put Simp in front of Scrap.
All right. People aren't going to like this Scrap at fourth, but like we said, the reasoning isn't because these players are clearly better than Scrap. It's just the impact they're probably going to have.
Yep.
Brock, I mean, we're well over an hour. We're going long, but we can
Guys.
let's fly through these. I think Skies is pretty classic B tier. He is just he's solid,
Yep.
serviceable, good player. He's gonna have always a decent year. I like to put him. Let's put him right next to a guy that he reminds me of in some ways. Insight, right above Insight.
Yep. Agreed.
Speaking of solid, serviceable, good main ARs, it's Slasher. Let's lump him right in. I want to put him in front of Skies because I love Slasher too much. Let's put him in front of Skies in
Yep.
B tier. I think
All right.
he's a solid, serviceable player. Brock, it's your boy next. You love him, Snoopy.
Snoopy. Pretty talented, but other stuff, brings him down a little bit.
Yeah, I want to put him in the top of C tier because I do think mechanically he's going to show some things, but his team is just going to suck, and I think he's still going to struggle to develop as a player. Maybe I'll put him behind Kremp, maybe
Yeah, let's do it.
ahead of your boy Priest.
Yep.
He was a guy. Everybody was predicting that team to be fifth last year with Priest, the Slasher, Capsidal, and Snoopy because we thought Slasher Priest, bring back that duo, and then everybody was really thinking Snoopy was going to take the next step into superstardom, and it couldn't have been further from the truth.
Yeah, really couldn't have.
Brock, next guy is our boy.
That boy Tej.
I'm high on him this year. I wanna throw him right
That was
behind 04.
agreed.
Brock, where do you want to put our next boy? It was our boys back to back. Where do you want to put our next boy? Vivid.
Let's put him in S.
Yep, top of S.
Yep, run it.
I wish.
Vivid. Honestly, let's put him in front of Tej.
I'm down. B tier. Vivid is so easily a B tier player. People are gonna find out. They're
Yep.
gonna hate. But Vivid is a very I mean, and this game too, hey,
Fast pace.
aggressiveness, fast pace. Vivid is like the other guy that could like match a BZ's pace. Obviously, BZ the better player, but Vivid, he'll set pace.
He definitely
Uh,
will.
and we are big fans of Reese Vivid. The next guy was his teammate to start the year last year, and the last guy, Big Wake.
Big wake. C.
I have a spot I want to put him in C. Where are you thinking?
Uh, I'm not honestly like Wake and Cammy at this point are like kind of the same player to me.
You think so? I was actually gonna like say like Wake's gonna put up a little numbers here. I was gonna put him ahead of Snoopy, so we're in actually very different spots.
I'm down for whatever.
You know, on throw. I feel like Wake's gonna somebody's got to get some kills in that team. You would think.
Yeah,
You think Wake's gonna get? I mean, Wake. Besides last year, Wake's always been good at getting kills.
that is true. So yeah, well, let's go with your prediction. I'm down to see we can have a little bit of comeback here
Yeah.
for what it is.
All right, so there it is. I won't rate them off, but because we will probably have a video version as well on Spotify at least, so you can go look at the tier list on Spotify. If you're watching there, you can look at it on YouTube. So we ended up with 5 players in S Brock. I feel like there are realistically like I can honestly see a world where like depending on what happens in the year, like the top down to Ghosty and A tier. I think there's a world where I see those players getting to S.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think all those players in one season are going to be S, but like I think if certain things go, like if Gwyn and Abuza's teams are way overperforming, I think they could be popping off and they could be fringe S tier players. Like Kenny Ghosty, I could see those guys, really popping off. Obviously, guys like Pred, Draza, Celium, Dashy, those guys bounce back and forth between S tier all the time. So I could see those guys, really taking it a step up. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting year. This is where we're looking at. I'd be interested to see. At least one guy we have in B tier higher is getting benched. I would be. I mean, the guys in A tier and above that we have, I would be absolutely floored if any of them got benched.
Yeah, definitely.
And honestly, most of the guys that we have in B, I would be pretty surprised. Like if Heretics makes a change, I don't think it'll be Real. I don't see Kismet getting benched off that team that he's close with. Maybe that Minnesota team implodes. I could see a world where like Geo or Lynn's some kind of change, or not Lynn, sorry, Geo gets changed out. Maybe I doubt Insight gets changed out. I doubt Skies gets changed out. Maybe Nasty if that team struggles. Maybe Slasher somehow again. He's been seemed to get switched out a lot. I don't know, but I see most of the C tier guys as the guys that could be the early candidates to get switched out for new players. Probably.
Mm-hmm.
I like our list overall though. I think it's pretty good.
Same here. I like
Come
it.
back and like somehow Cam will be Cold War Cammy and he'll be S tier again.
Yeah, that'd be something, wouldn't it?
That would be something. All right. That's going to do it for this one. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review. We appreciate all your guys' support. As always, hope you guys enjoy this one. Comment down below your thoughts. What is your tier list? If you were going to change, a few things. Obviously, you don't have to list out your entire tier list. It's a lot for you to type out, but you're going to change a few things from ours. Are you higher on a player that we're lower on? Are you lower on a player that we're high on? Comment down below your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. That's it. And I mean, shoot, I didn't even think of this, Brock. Our next week, we might be doing our first predictions
That is correct.
because I believe matches, yeah, next Friday. So next week, I believe will be our first episode doing predictions, for the matches this season. So that's going to be really fun. Looking
Mm-hmm.
forward to that.
Yep.
We will see you guys in the next one.